Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Doctors in the House Health Show on 99.1 FM, WUJM, St. Petersburg Community Radio. We have an excellent program for you tonight. Please stay tuned. We have another great show for you. The topic today is the Blue Zone, the Power 9 principle, and beyond. So in the last show, we did a last show last month about the Blue Zone introductions and what it is. So in the last show, we learned that the Blue Zones are regions around the world where there are clusters of people who live the longest and the healthiest on the planet. These regions have been discovered and studied and researched from 1999 to around 2008. And the founder of the Blue Zone, Mr. Dan Buettner, is an American National Geographic Fellow, an explorer, educator, producer, and New York Times best-selling author. He has a great team with him, with demographers, photographers, scientists, doctors, who are around the world to do this. The Blue Zone area that was identified include Ikaria, Greece, Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, the community of Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California, and the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica. So, as we discussed the last time, what is really important about the Blue Zone regions, it's not necessarily the geographic location, but rather it's the concept of how the environment impacted the world's longest living and healthiest people, and also the lifestyle they lead. So what are we going to cover? What we're going to cover tonight are the factors accounting for the health status and the longevity of these folks. And can those factors be reproduced and applied to other people or other communities around the world in the United States? So for those of you who listen to this show for the first time, let's give you a quick specific review of each Blue Zone region. Okinawa is the home of the world's longest lived women. That was in 1990. That was one of the first discovered. Sardinia, around 2000, is the home of the world's longest lived men. Loma Linda, around 2005, is the home of a community of Seventh-day Adventists in California who regularly live 10 years longer than the rest of Americans. Nicoya in the Pacific Northwest of Costa Rica, around 2006, is the home of the world's lowest rate of middle-age mortality, meaning those people grew to the middle age without any chronic disease and make it to 90, 100. And finally, Ikaria in Greece, or so named the island where people forget to die. This is the island with the lowest rate of dementia. So just being old doesn't necessarily make you qualify for having dementia. So what accounts, though, for the wellness and the longevity of those folks? Is it genetic, pure luck, or the old nature versus nurture? Well, for the longest time, the assumptions was that our gene largely determine how long we live. But in reality, that's not the case. Studies after studies have shown that in terms of longevity, genetic only account for less than 25%. More precisely, according to some study, about 20%. So from the research that's been done on the Blue Zone people, 9 evidence-based common denominators were found among the world centenarian, and those factors referred to as the Power 9 are believed to slow down this aging process. So that's basically what we're going to concentrate ourselves today. What are the Power 9 principles? The Power Nine. And the order that I named discussed this Power Nine is arbitrary. And then all those factors are important. Number one, it's called move naturally. So the longest lived folks do not necessarily pump iron or run marathons or join gyms. Instead, they live in an environment that constantly pushes them into moving without them thinking about it. Those are the people who grow their own garden, they take care of their land, they shop firewood, they walk to the market, they do housework without the help of any of those modern conveniences. So any trip is an occasion to walk. That in itself may give you an idea of the positive cardiovascular benefit and positive effect on muscles and bone metabolism that you might expect, without having to pound as a running marathoner. Number two is have a purpose. Having a sense of purpose in life is a key factor in the Blue Zone. People with a clear sense of purpose also tend to have better physical health, more optimism, and a greater sense of satisfaction in life. And it's especially important for people who are recently retired. They need to find a new sense of purpose in life if their career has been previously been their primary focus. Actually, the Okinawan call it ikigai, and the Nicoyan in Costa Rica call it plan de vida. And for both, it means, it's translated to why I wake up in the morning. And according to a lot of studies, your sense of purpose is worth at least 5 years of extra life expectancy. The number three power is called downshift. Now, we all know chronic stress is extremely detrimental to our health. Talk about chronic health for many time in previous show, and how it relates to chronic inflammations and some of those diseases, mental health disease, anxiety, depression, etc. So while it is virtually impossible to live a stress-free life, it is important to find ways to manage stress so that it doesn't create severe physical and mental health. So the Blue Zone inhabitants have routines that naturally help them shed stress. For instance, the Okinawan, they take a few moments each day to remember their ancestor. The Adventists pray. The Sardinian, they have happy hour as much as they can. And the Nicoyan and the Ikourian from Greece, they take naps. They work hard, but somewhere in the middle of the day, they take naps. And that's very important in cut down rates of stress. The Power 4 is the 80% rule, or in other words, stop eating when you are full 80%. So the first Blue Zone habit that involves food is the practice of eating only to when you are 80% full, not just overeat and push it. Harahaki Bu, that's an Okinawan 2,500 years old Confucian mantra that they say before meal to remind them to stop eating when their stomach is 80% full. So people in the Blue Zone, they eat usually 3 meals a day, the biggest meal in the morning, medium lunch, and a light dinner. All meals are consumed within 8 hours. And they go to bed generally with light stomach, with 16 hours to digest the food. That's their regular routine, everybody. I remember nowadays we are talking about the intermittent fasting, where if we fast 16 hours during the day, then that's one way to control weight. But there's many factors involved in this. Number 5 is eat a plant-based diet. This is something I've talked about over and over, whether in that any kind of health issue. We spend a lot of time on this. during my talks on the microbiome, because the plant-based fiber contribute to the health of the intestinal bugs, bacteria, which is good for us because it lower immunity and control mental health, decrease inflammation. We talk about this stuff. So over there in those zone, they eat plant-based food. Bean in particular, including fava bean, black beans, soy, lentil, are the cornerstone of most centenarian diet. Is this all they eat? No, they also eat some meat, but mostly pork. And they eat that an average about 4 times a month. Usually the family pig would be slaughtered around the holidays, and they would be preserved and shared for the family on those special occasions. Fish is not predominant occasionally because of the distance to the sea. Do they eat bread? Well, especially in Italy, in Sardinia, they eat bread, but a special bread, sourdough, which is fermented with lactobacillus and also Bleu and gluten. All right. So, yeah, we talk about, and people are aware all over the world, really, of the effect of a plant-based diet. And those folks, they don't really consume very hardly any ultra-processed or processed food. Okay. So now we did on number 5, so we're going to go to number 6. Number 6 is interesting. They drink wine in moderation, red wine. So the people in all the Blue Zone, except for the Adventists in California, drank alcohol moderately and regularly. And it's been found in some studies that moderate drinkers of wine, red wine, outlive non-drinkers. The trick is really to drink 1 or 2 glasses a day, which they do, preferably the Sardinian Cannonode wine, it's a red wine, which has 2 or 3 times the level of flavonoid, which is strong antioxidant, as other wine. And the advice is, what was observed is that they usually drink with friends and also to drink with food. That takes the edge off the alcohol. And no, you cannot really save up this wine to have it at the weekend, 14 glasses on the weekend. So drinking moderation, next power is belonging to a faith-based community. The Blue Zone folks typically belong to some sort of faith-based community. And as a matter of fact, of all the 363 centenarian, the people over 100 that were interviewed for the Blue Zone, some of these in some of the area, all but 5 belong to a faith-based community. And it doesn't matter what denomination, that doesn't seem to matter at all. And again, research shows that attending a faith-based service 4 times a month will add at least 4 years of life expectancy. Number 8, keep the family close. People who live in the Blue Zone put family first. They commit to a life partner and spend quality time with their children. Aging parents and grandparents tend to live nearby or in the house, which is also tend to add value to the health and well-being of the children. Okay, and here, I mean, then usually attribute a little bit of years of life expectancy to those. So, taking care of your family, taking care of the children, your spouse, the grandparents who we look as treasure in the family, can add 3 years of life expectancy. Number 9, which we come to the 9 power. The Blue Zone folks have strong community ties. Their social circles support healthy behavior, and they often remain friends for life. as we discussed the last time, the Okinawan from Japan create the mohai. We discussed the mohai. Mohai are a group of 5 friends that are committed to each other for life. And they usually, in Okinawa, they usually start at age 5. And one of the mohai that was observed and reported consists of, have been together for 97 years. And the average age of those 5 friends, which are 5 women, are 102. So this is also extremely important to have friends. Many research, including the Framingham study, shows that behavior can be socially contagious. So you may be surprised to know that if you hang out with people with obesity or alcoholic who have loneliness, that's also contagious. So surround yourself with people who support your goal and share your value, can go a long way toward helping you improve your health and your lifestyle. So briefly, we look at this, the 9 factors, and I quickly go over them for you because this is the meat of the show. Number 1, move naturally, meaning that any form of exercise, we don't call it exercise, any form of physical activity help. And those people, they don't need to really think about it because their lifestyle, the work they do, make them spend energy like this. And there's a lot of cardiovascular benefits. Having a purpose, and I've seen that in my practice. Folks who spend life doing something they may not like, by the time they retire, they're so exhausted, a lot of them, they die. So having something to live for, like the Nicoyan would say, why do I wake up in the morning? Okay, Downshift, we have to manage stress. Stress is no surprise, no mystery. It's detrimental to our health. So those people have their own routine. You know, some take naps, and the Sardinian, Italian in the south of Italy, they drink wine. They have happy hour. Okay, and they also have a great sense of humor. They joke. So anything to chill out is good. Number 4 is eat. Stop eating when you're full. I mean, that's, I don't know, it just can't be any better explained. Eat a plant-based diet, number 5. And most of the people on the Blue Zone, they eat plant-based diet. The Adventists in Loma Linda, California, they all vegan, and they don't smoke, they don't drink. So all those things really good. Belonging to a faith-based community, extremely important, and that add years to your life. Keep your family close. That's the circle in which you were born. That's the nest. Commit to your life partner. Spend quality of time with your children. Don't discard your older folks. They are there as a treasure to learn from and to keep the tradition going, and that helps also the grandchildren. Lastly, find the right tribe, community activity, friends. And again, the research shows that, behavior can be contagious. If you hang around, tell me who you hang around with, I'll tell you who you are, so to speak. So choose your friend. Okay? So the bottom line is, as you see, when we talk about longevity, it's not just about diet and exercise. It's a multiple factors which, when come together, become this great shield against physical and mental disease, which robbed us of a life full of possibilities and happiness. How we connect matters. Our interpersonal relationship, connections with our family, our friend, our community, have existential value. In our country, for example, here in the United States, 3 out of 5 folks suffer severe loneliness. It's been found that, especially for the last decade or so, people with less than 3 friends tend to suffer loneliness, which is a killer. All right? Belonging to a faith, no matter what it is. Going there 3 or 4 times a month. Participating. Add to your life, years to your life. So those factors have serious implication in improving longevity and quality of life. And as you can see, the final three habits of the Blue Zone we discussed have to do with us. A more high, minimum of 5 people together that are committed for life. People who volunteer tend to have less risk of a heart attack, lower healthcare costs, and report higher level of satisfaction. Retirement. Think of purposes. If you're doing something you enjoy, like in Okinawa, there's no need for retirement. That word doesn't exist. You find your purpose, whatever it is, even in a family. For me, I'm thinking of my kids, my 2 girls, for the rest of their life, and to see them through and be there when they need me. So that's one goal. And I have other goals. I play music and do all those things. And if you can give back something to your community, it's all good. So in a nutshell, it's not a mystery. This is the 9th power, which a lot of us are familiar with. But now we're going to go in the time remaining, not a whole lot of time. What have we learned from this? What this group of explorers, Dan and his team, learned from it, and what they're going to do about it? So just quickly, a lot of information have been gathered from studying the habit and lifestyle of those special group of people who live long and are happy. So with all this information, Dan Buettner, the leader, the CEO of the Blue Zone, and his team, they set out to design the healthiest lifestyle possible for individual and also for entire community. So thus, it's good to know that the Blue Zone project have been launched and was launched around 2009. So the goal is not only to make the healthy choice the easy choice, but also the unavoidable choice. In other words, it's not your willpower or your gusto that's going to make you continue. It's not so much starting, it's sustain those things for a long time. And they had a blueprint and well thought out template to embark on this project. So I can only give you whet your appetite on what really they've been doing for the last 10 years, because I think the last Blue Zone was discovered in 2008, so they started the project in 2009 to this day. So here's the life concept. Here's some of the concept they established with all this information. One is called the life radius. What is the life radius? It's the 5-mile radius where you work, you live, and you play. Well, over there, that's the life. I mean, here it could be much longer. It could be 10 miles. But if you can make everything happen around this radius, people will tend to do it. The idea is that if you live in an environment that nudge you, push you to move naturally, to eat plant-based and socialize, then you'll do this thing without thinking about it. As you know by experience in the U.S., people by themselves, even those with discipline and willpower, they're not able to sustain this for a long term. We all have New Year's resolution, but what happened by June, July? Gone. Because the environment has to help as well. Your community leaders have to help. They have to care enough to create those zones with the proper tools so you can continue. So they apply those concepts in their project. Okay. So this is what they want to be optimized whenever you consider doing a project like this. Take care of the environment. Improve the road, transportation option, park, public space. The transportation infrastructure should favor walking, biking with narrower lane for driving. In other words, you're not creating road for cars. You're creating road for people to drive and to bike. Larger sidewalk and more mileage more miles for biking. And then this is also where your community leaders have to step up to establish policies and ordinance that can promote good activity and discouraging junk food marketing, smoking, just limiting what we know is a killer in the United States, which is sugar-sweetened beverages, okay, on American diet. And you can also place a moratorium on the billboard that advertise them, bad food, and even, I know this is not politically correct, but charge taxes on soft drink. And I think they've done it. The last mayor, the two last mayor was to do it. I forget his name. You pay charge for Coke. And it's been done in Philadelphia and Oakland, California. Adding more accessible way for people to eat whole food on a regular basis by expanding community gardening space. Okay? I mean, how can you ask the people to eat fiber and plant-based when the next one is 100 miles away? Social network, forming nurturing social group that support healthy habit. And find any organization or tap into a close group of friends and neighbors that support you and vice versa. And when you design home for those folks, you got to help them design a home that push them into eating less, moving more. That could mean many things. In some places include such thing as standing desks at work or removal of vending machine in schools. And no bread basket in the restaurant. That's one thing you don't need, extra thing you don't need. Anyway, and lastly, in terms of what we can do is to encourage folks to reduce their stress, to find their purpose, and to give back to their community, okay? Take extra time for your family each week if you can. And I'm hosting a little dinner, whatever it is. Weekend dinner, and everybody sit down and have some fun, and, you can down stress. Take a moment each day to think about your purpose in life and truly feel gratitude for it. Again, we have time against ourselves, but let me tell you quickly what happened. They started that project. One of the first town to elect to be guinea pig, the testing out for the pilot program is Albert Lea in Minnesota. And so the town was not doing well anyway in both national and Minnesotan standard of health and others. So they really quickly accepted to be coached and informed about all those changes. So the Bleu project went to work. And they focused primarily on making permanent policies and city changes that optimize city street, create bike lane, as we discussed earlier, sidewalk, improve public space, such as park, nature park, switch to healthier food choice in school, restaurant, and grocery store. They followed the template, and the town really, really contributed. They were really hungry for something like this. So in the end, Albert Lea town had more mileage for sidewalk, mileage for bike lane, and the business created a lot of enjoyable public spaces, nice park. Those changes created domino effect, which led to not only exercise increase, but generated more traffic downtown, which led to raised property value in the downtown. So by the time this thing was over, by the time the pilot project started, I think it was a 3-4 years project, and using the Blue Zone model makes a big difference in Albert Lea. 90% increase in community satisfaction, 40% drop in city workers' health care costs, 20% increase in property value, 40% increase in biking and walking, which in total added to, and weight loss, it added within 5 years, 3 years, increased life expectancy for this area, okay? And quickly, before I go, when they finished with Albert Lea, the Blue Zone took on. They went to Los Angeles, used all the beach cities. They worked with the city work planners to make the street built for human as opposed to cars, and they went after smokers. The smoking rate went down by 30%. The body mass index went down by 14%, and people reported healthy behavior. So to this day, since the Blue Zone project started, Dan and his team now have been working on 32 cities in the U.S., which wants to adopt the Blue Zone idea. So it's not all in vain. They went that expedition with the idea of study the lifestyle and then to backtrack to see if those things those folks in the Blue Zone are doing can be applicable to others. But the bottom line is the environment. The environment has to be created for this to happen, not individual. Okay. So, quick conclusions. The secret of life or long life, the Blue Zone that we talk about, are a combination of multiple factors, which we call the Power Nine, and we talk about them already. So these people did not seek out to do those things, to follow them. The environment pushed them into this way of living. Because when you have to work to cultivate your land, to grow your food, and live in a close-knit community, when you respect and support one another, when you live with the ability to relax and have some fun on a regular basis, the results may be surprising, but they're not amazing. I mean, they are amazing, but not surprising, because what you do is what you get. It's karma. And we live in an environment where we're lonely, we don't get access, especially folks in the lower social echelon. We don't get access to those things. No wonder. Rate of obesity, mental illness, diabetes, heart attack, all this stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's again, I really thank you. Sorry I kind of rushed in the last few moments. There's always more information to share. But all I can tell you is that the Blue Zone has a website. All the informations are there. And plus, this guy has written so many book bestseller. So if you're interested in see how this, especially the last project, which is ongoing, they're trying to really touch America and see if they can do something with that information. I wish them luck. Again, I thank you for your attention. Always my pleasure to bring you the show. Please call with feedback, 727-637-2416. If you missed the show, we'll make a video of the recording and posted it on my YouTube, Dr Morency YouTube channel. And hey, you can subscribe and you'll get the show directly to you. Thank you.
This is Cara Festo Radio. 99 Gems.